All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are excited for you guys to join our next series of our wellness offerings. We want to be mindful of everyone's time. We know that it's a busy time of the year, so we thank you for coming out, and we thank our guests from Hygera for coming today. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and then we will take it from there. Thank you for coming. Let's give them a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Andrea Rogers. I am the Director of Development at Hygera Health. I have the awesome opportunity to work on our marketing and communications team. By trade, I am a psychologist, and I'm just proud to be on with it. So, yeah, think you want to go ahead.
Sure. Some of you I think I met last time, Catherine Grisson, Senior Director for Marketing and Communications, and took a lot of your feedback that you shared from our last series and made sure that it's incorporated into this presentation. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna tell you whether it's 2 people or 20, I'm gonna give it all I got. I'm gonna expect you to give it all I got. If you're at a table, that is gonna be your group for today, for the sake of these activities. So we're gonna talk about emotional regulation and adaptive coping. I know they told you a little bit about Hygera Health at the last meeting, but we have been around since 1971. And we started out as a substance abuse agency. If anybody remembers, like the methadone and Suboxone, we started in Ether. And we just kind of evolved to respond to community needs. And so in doing that, now we are one of the largest behavioral health organizations in Western Wayne, and we now have locations downriver as well. We do mental health, substance abuse for all ages. Hygera actually means journey. So wherever you are on your journey, we are here to partner with you. We also serve regardless of insurance levels. And so that is one of the things that I'm most proud of, being what's called a CCBMC. So I kind of told you like who I am, but more importantly, I really want to tell you like why I'm here. Not just as a professional or a clinical reason, but I told you already, I'm a psychologist and a mom. I am not in the schools. And what I know is that I depend on the teachers. As a mom, I depend on the janitor, the lunch servers, the bus drivers. Everyone that comes in contact with my child is very important. And I know that I cannot do what you do. So when I get a chance to support you, I'm all for it. For example, the school called me today. Everybody's doing the testing right now. And so in the midst of the testing, they were like, can you bring snacks tomorrow? And I'm like, yes. And they were like, well, they have to be blue. I'm like, okay, we bringing blue snacks tomorrow, but definitely here, because as school professionals, you really carry a huge responsibility. Let's close that out. There we go. You really carry a huge responsibility. In addition to supporting children in whatever capacity, you have to be aware of emotional environment for yourself and for others, crisis moments, and really some unseen things that may be going, not just with the students, but with us as well. And so what I hope to do today is to give you some real tangible coping mechanisms. And so we can talk about it and see where we go. And I got a chance to use some of them on the way here, because apparently every street that I knew to take over here was traffic and construction. So I got to use, I really did. Like I was proud. I was like, do this really work? And it did work. So just know that I tried it myself. I'm not here to blow smoke, but I'm here to support. And this is my field, but we are a team. So it's not just, I have all the answers. I believe some of the answers are in this room. So we're a team to kind of figure out this together. So hopefully I'm going to give you some good stuff. In your folders, everyone should have a folder. There is a slew of information. There is a PowerPoint, and there are some scripts that I have prepared for you. We're not necessarily going to go line by line on everything, but it is really important that you have all of the necessary. So take tools, mark it up. You also will be provided with this electronically. I will provide all of the information to Maria as well. Based upon the feedback that was given of what was needed. This is how this entire presentation was put together. And so you don't have to necessarily wait till the end. We will have some time at the end for questions. And so we'll kind of see as we go. And so we'll have the presentation. We're gonna have some group activities. If there's only 2 people at your table, give it all you got. Got it? Okay, cool beans. So we're gonna have a bit of an icebreaker, and so you can talk to the person that you're with. We have 2. You will see the theme of this is choices. And so even in our activities, you have the choice between 1 or 2 activities. I hope you carry that with you, okay? Those choices. In emotional regulation and coping strategies, choices are very important. So I hope that you will see that. So 1, if you choose to do this one for the icebreaker, we're just gonna take about 2 minutes. We got an hour, but we're gonna pack it. If your emotional state today were a weather forecast, what would your emotional state be? Is it cloudy with a heavy chance of a thunderstorm? Is it sunny? So if your emotional state was a weather forecast, what would it be? If that's not your thing, you can choose who you're here for. If it's the name of a child, a colleague, a family member, or even a community member that you want to keep in mind during this, I want you to write that down. So pick which one you're going to do right now. And yes, you do have to pick one of them. And you can talk at your tables. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that. So everybody have it in mind. How many people going to do number 1? The weather forecast. Okay, how many people going to do number 2? How many people want me to pinch you so that you participate? No, no, I'm not going to pinch you. Okay, let's take about 2 minutes for that. And Catherine, you have your emotional state was the weather. They will be true Michigan because they're all 4 seasons. And I was like, that is absolutely true. So today, we're going to talk about some emotional regulation and coping mechanisms. And a lot of times training like this, we give information and we're like, do this, and it works for some, but it may not work for everybody. For example, you hear a lot of people telling you, well, do breathing exercises. I'm gonna tell you the truth, I'm one of those people that breathing exercises don't necessarily work for me. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna introduce what's called the heart, mind, and body. It's kind of a system that we use. And so in doing that, if you're a heart type, you process stress differently. And so if you're a body type, when I told you to use this method, it may or may not work for you. So take a journey with me just for a second, and you are going to determine which are you. Are you a head, heart, or body type? And there's only 2 questions, okay? So the first question is, when I'm under pressure, I usually what? And the choices are 3 things. Do you go into your head and overanalyze a little bit, or a lot of it? Do you feel deeply and worry about others' reactions? Or do you 3, take control or act impulsively? You don't have to tell anybody. Just think about it. Is it A, B, or C? Do you go in your head? Do you feel deeply and worry? Or do you take control and act impulsively? Okay? Everybody has their answer picked? Okay. The second one is, my leadership superpower is what? Is it A, strategic thinking, B, empathy and connection, C, grounded action and drive? Everybody know which one? I'm not going to tell everybody, but our CEO and our senior director of marketing and communications is here, and I think I know which type they are, but I'm not going to tell anybody. Okay, so do you A, B, or C? Everybody got it picked? Okay, so if you picked A, then you are a head type. And it could go back and forth, but this is what's in general. And you're going to keep this in mind as we talk about different things. If you picked B for both, you're a head type. If you're C, you're more of a body type. Okay? Does everybody know if they are A, B, or C, just according to this exercise? This is not a DSM diagnosis, so you're fine. Right, everybody got it picked? Okay? Yes. Okay, cool beans. So as we move forward, you're gonna keep those in mind as we talk about like what you can really do, okay? So when we understand like emotional regulation, being able to respond to emotional experiences, a lot of times people equate emotions as good or bad. And I just did a career day, out of school last week and I asked all the kids, I said, are there good and bad emotions? So I'm gonna ask you, is there such thing as good and bad emotions?
Yes.
Can I challenge your thinking for a second? There's no such thing as necessarily good or bad emotions. How we process them and how we relate them, that is where it can get a little fuzzy. We can be angry, we can be sad, we can be frustrated, we can be scared, we can be overwhelmed, but how we express that, having the emotion is not necessarily good or bad. And our stress response that we do that is where we get into kind of the fight or flight. And so think about how do you respond, thinking about that head, heart, and body type. So keep that in mind. So right now, what does dysregulation look like? We kind of know the answer a little bit. The outbursts, the withdrawal ensues, the defiance. I want to make sure though you see the opposite side. Usually when we're dealing with students or even our family members or our neighbors, what happens is those with the outward expressions, they get all of the attention. But I really want to make sure you don't miss the ones that are withdrawn, the ones that go in, because those are equally concerning as well. When we look at us as staff, it could come out as irritability, exhaustion, short impatience. I know there's nobody in here, right? We don't have to do those things. Or feeling overwhelmed or numb. So keep those in mind. We're going to break up into a group for just a second, but I want you to think about both what we call maladaptive coping and adaptive coping. Some of those avoidance, yelling, and I told you, I'm a psychologist and a mom, and we all have those maladaptive coping mechanisms. It's not for you to get perfect, it's for you to progress and get better. It might be emotional shutdown, and how we respond to that is with those adaptive coping mechanisms. You cannot teach, you cannot do your job, you cannot be of the best service that you can be if you're dysregulated. And so, like I said, I used some of those on the way up here. So one of my coping mechanisms was to get it out before I got here. So I called Catherine. I said, you got a minute? I need to vent. If I turn on one more street and it's a detour out here, it's gonna be bad. So I got it out before I got here because I wanted to bring the best energy possible. And so let's take a moment. I want you to take a look at handout number 1 for calming style. So this is for you because you've already identified if you're a head type, if you are a heart type, or a body type. It's in your phone. You don't have a phone?
We have a folder, but nothing.
Catherine is gonna help us out. Does everybody else have handout number 1? That's it. Handout number 1. Okay. So I want you to take about 2 minutes to break into your group, okay? I want you to think about which type are you. I want you to look at what is the typical stress response, and I want you to pick one of the calming tools that you think would actually work for you in the moment. And I'm gonna tell you which one I use outside of calling someone, which one I use. So everybody on the same page, you know what we're doing? Okay. Look at everybody with me?
Yes.
You sure? Okay, gotcha. Was that painful for anybody? Okay, cool beans. So another thing that was asked very specifically was how to respond in an immediate escalation. And an escalation may not be just in the classroom. It could be in the parking lot. It could be in the lunchroom, or it could be in another place. So I want to make sure we talk about how not to escalate first, okay? How many people heard the expression match energy? Okay, so what we do not want to do is match energy, okay? What we want to do is match calm, not energy. We want to lower our voice because immediately when you lower your voice, a person has to stop to be able to hear you, okay? Now, is it 100% foolproof? No, but these are very much so tested de-escalation techniques. This morning we had our law enforcement breakfast, where we have a partnership with multiple municipalities. The same things that I'm talking to you about are the same things when we talk about de-escalation, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's out in another setting, whether it's with our law enforcement. These are techniques that keep us safe, keep other people safe, and we'll talk a little bit more about sometimes we need an immediate reaction, and sometimes we just need immediate control. We have to be able to decide, is this a moment where I need immediate control, or I just want immediate control? Okay. Did you raise your hand, sir? Oh, okay. So you want to slow down your body movement. You want to give space instead of control, and you definitely want to use fewer words, not more. And I'm gonna give you some more specific examples. So when you are having conversation where you need specific scripts, so just so you know, you have a full 2 pages of crisis moment scripts that you can print this out. You can, what I usually do is I download scripts to my phone because I'm gonna lose a piece of paper, but I can always access it in my phone, whether it's boundary scripts or crisis scripts. That is how I use crisis scripts. And so these are just a few examples, but you have a lot more with you. You can say things like, I'm available to support, but I cannot engage when voices are raised. You're setting a boundary and a standard. We're gonna pause and reset before continuing. And a lot of times, the pause and the reset might be more for us than it is for them. But a pause and a reset, because once you say the words or do the action, you can't get that back. But you can always pause. I'd rather them misinterpret my pause than for them to interpret my offense. Okay? I need a moment so that I can respond well. Sometimes it's the other person who may not be responding appropriately, but you're taking ownership of the situation. I need a moment. Because sometimes if you say, do you need a moment so that you can relax? You know, that is more confrontational. But if you say, I need a moment, you're pausing, you're gaining back that control. And when you put in these type of boundaries, boundaries are not rejection. They are regulation tools. And so some of the things that we can do, whether it's between classes or between breaks, when I was doing some research, it said to do a 30-second reset between each class. I said, they're gonna beat me up. They don't have time to do a 30-second reset. The people are grabbing them. But what you can do is at least a 30-second reset 1 or 2 times a day. What does that look like? That means you are going to the window. You're getting up and walking in the hallway for a moment. You go to the bathroom and you put some cold water on your hands. You are doing this just to reset. You are giving your mind and your body a different environment, and it helps to regulate you. So if you do get dysregulated, it gives you some calming tools. Sometimes anybody just gotta breathe before responding to an email. Sometimes you just gotta wait. You know, does this need my attention and my response at this specific moment? Am I in the best place to respond to this? Sometimes you just gotta do a check-in with yourself, which is so important. We talked about stepping in the hallway. So chronic dysregulation. Dysregulation isn't abnormal. Getting mad, getting frustrated, blowing up sometimes, these are normal responses. So this is not to say that you can't ever have a bad reaction. This is to say when it happens to you chronically, this is a symptom that you haven't given yourself a chance to recover from stress. And stress is so normalized right now. Like anybody, you know, people are giving themselves kudos for being stressed. I didn't get no sleep, but I still did this. Like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's not reward stress, but let's reward recovery, even if we're doing it, you know, just with ourselves. Another specific request was how to avoid a power struggle. And we're gonna take a break and just kind of talk between ourselves. Power struggles start when you need compliance immediately. Remember when I was talking about, is this where a safety issue, where you need compliance immediately, or is this a control issue? And as a mom to very big emotions and big feelings. Little girl, I grew up in a different time. There was just certain things we did not say. There are certain things that we did not do. So I realized I might be raising a CEO, but right now, give me a rub for my money, okay? What I realized is that there are moments when I want control and compliance immediately, but how I express that is not the healthiest for the situation. And so that makes me take a step back. So that is how you really want to avoid a power struggle when it is not necessary. Every situation isn't necessarily a power struggle. And so what that looks like, remember I told you that it's about choices. When you give choices, you can give choices that still direct you to the same result. You don't have to decide right now, I'll come back. Of course, you will only do that when that is an acceptable choice. I'm not here to argue, I'm here to help. Sometimes people need to be reminded of that, adults as well as children. This got like a 30-second pause. We can do this the easy way or a slower way. You can decide. What that implies is that we're gonna get this done. Might get done a little slower, but we can do this the easy way. I had to change that because there was a comedian that used to say, we can do this the easy way or we can do this WWF style. I'm dating myself. We don't want to do it WWF style, okay? This is the expectation. I'll help you meet it. Okay? Sometimes you gotta be a little bit more firm. I know this may not be your favorite, but it's important that we do this way. And again, I'm here to help. There's definitely the notion that we are here to help, and this is the direction that we're going in. Okay? So, you have 3 different pages of scenario. You can decide which one may work for you. It's in the PowerPoint. If it's too small for you, I can help you a little bit. One of them is in the classroom. One slide is in class. This one is in class. We have one that is outside of the classroom, but still in the school. And then we have one that is in just everyday life. So I want you to pick one. So if you are a teacher, you can pick one that is for in the school, one of the scenarios. If you are outside of the classroom, you can pick a scenario that's outside of the classroom. If you like, Andrea, I just need to figure out how to calm down sometimes. We have some scenarios that are outside of the classroom and just in regular life. And I can read them for you. So if you're in the classroom, a student begins yelling, a student puts their head down and refuses to engage, a student responds saying, I'm not doing this, you can't make me. Nobody's dealt with that one, right? A student becomes silent and disengaged. I want you to talk about what is the unmet need and what is your first response. And as you think about your first response, not necessarily consequence, what is your first response? And then for this one, I am going to ask that you share out a little bit. That makes sense, you can't do it? You may try to seek control through information. Not control as you need to control everything, but it goes back to that certainty. So what are your triggers if you're ahead of time? Is it when things aren't clear? Brene Brown says clear as time. If there's chaos or confusion, if people aren't making sense, that might just bother you, okay? If you're a heart type,